Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootleggers, shills, Nestle, serfs, peasants, vassals, individual corporate entities. And I say that because my first thought in 2013 is this whole idea that corporations are now guaranteed the same rights as an individual. The rights provided by the Constitution are now interpreted by the Supreme Court and gives corporations these new rights. And of course, this is all nonsense. And I'm sure a lot of people are just like me. It really chaps my ass, and it's just a gut feeling. I don't want to have an intellectual argument about it because I know there's a lot of different ways to interpret this, and certainly libertarian views are very complex on this. And but bottom line is, really annoys the hell out of me. And so I thought, well, what if I, as an individual, could become a corporation and garner myself new rights and privileges based on the fact that I can now designate myself as a corporation and therefore garner a whole new set of rights and privileges and things that aren't available to me as an individual. So now that I'm a corporation, let's kind of look at how I would run my life under these new rules and regulations. So first of all, I'd have a tax bill. And even though my stated tax rate for my wage bracket is about 20%, I could actually write off enough stuff and have enough loopholes and squirrel enough money away that my tax rate could end up being more like 2 or 3%, or maybe even 0%. So I could work out some deals with the government where I wouldn't even have to pay taxes for 10 years at a time, like General Electric. And then, of course, since I control interest rates and have such a huge effect on interest rates, I could just name my price. So when I go in to buy a new BMW, I could just say, well, you know what, I want to have a 1%. No, I want a 0.5% interest rate on this loan, and that would be pretty nice. And of course, I could get 0% loans from banks and other corporations and anybody else that has money that wants to hand it out to me. And it's just pretty much free money, kind of the way the Federal Reserve hands out money to all the corporations, all the banks. And this is one I like, the drug money. So I could basically set up a business where I handle the money for all the coke dealers, Mexican coke dealers in this town, and I could handle their money for them, so that way they can work out their books easier and stay one step ahead of the law. And I can make sure that it all looks like it's all on the up and up. And a good, easy way for me to make extra money, too. And, when my checking account's empty, somebody just puts money in it. And so that would be really nice, And when I went negative, I had a negative balance, then I could just, have the community, like, bail me out or the federal government. The federal government could bail me out. But, my checking account technically would never be empty. And I certainly wouldn't charge myself any fees as a corporation now that I'm not an individual, I'm a corporation. And, and I wouldn't have to really pay for all these fees and fines and everything. So when I get parking tickets, I'd never really have to pay them. And it really wouldn't bother me to pay them because, of course, the parking ticket would be probably $1 or $2. Because if you compare the fine to how much I make, and use the same ratio that they use for banks and corporations, it would work out to about $1 or $2. So I think I could probably pay that parking tickets. And I could write off everything. So if I had to upgrade for my new corporate self, I could upgrade every year, and that means I could go out and buy a new BMW, because that's important for me as a corporation now to have a new BMW every year, probably a Porsche too. So I could write that off. I could spend like $200,000 on cars and then write it off. And even though that's considerably more than what I make, I guess maybe I could end up with a tax refund. And that would be a lot like banks in corporate America too. So that would be great now that I'm a corporation. And of course the bottom line is, I could say whatever I wanted about how much I make and what my assets are worth. So, let's say I make, $1 million a year. Okay, I make $1 million a year, and I got about $5 million in assets. So when I factor that in, when I cook my books and I fake all the numbers, then of course that affects all these other things too. So I'll have to go back and reevaluate all these things. And offshore accounts, tax havens. Now, see, now that I'm cooking my books, I want to make sure that I squirrel away the money so I don't get taxed on it, even though I'm not even paying anything close to the corporate tax. And so now that I'm making this fake $1 million a year, I'll have to get involved in these tax havens. So I pay, almost zero taxes. That'd be great. Well, I could be like GE. GE hasn't paid taxes for 10 years, so maybe I could get away with not paying taxes for 10 years. I could go back to tax deferments, where it doesn't even matter what the taxes are really. I can just keep putting off paying it for as long as I want, so that'd be great. And I could operate in the stock market with no cash, no real skin in the game, as long as I have enough in my cookbooks. I can work the market and put in positions where I don't even have to really have anything there. That'd be an advantage, because as an individual, it'd be really tough for me to get involved in the market without actually having to put any money into it. And advertising, let's say I wanted to be a gigolo, a male prostitute, and I wanted to do some advertising on television and the local paper, and I could write that off. That'd be pretty handy for any kind of small business you might. Now that I'm a corporation and not an individual, and I can write all that off, and it doesn't even matter if you're McDonald's and everyone knows who you are. You still get to write off your advertising, so that would come in as a real advantage for me, because I'd probably get famous pretty fast as a male prostitute gigolo, and that brings me to another thing, is lobbying. And all the corporations and banks and everything have lobbying. They have to send somebody to Washington to represent them. So I know this guy Doug, and he can be a real asshole when he's drunk. So I thought maybe I'd hire him as my personal lobbyist and send him out there. I'd love to send him loose on Lindsey Graham, and harass the shit out of him and see if I could get pot legalized. And it's already legalized here in Washington. And I think that's it. Oh yeah, one nice thing too about being a corporation now, and even though I'm a person, is that as a person, it's 3 strikes and you're out. So if you have 3 criminal offenses, they put you away in jail forever. But as a corporation, of course, I can have 3 strikes, 4 strikes, 5 strikes. I can keep doing the same crimes over and over and over and over and over again, and I never do any jail time. So that would be really nice too. So I think that covers most of the things I was thinking of. How the advantages now that I'm a corporation and not an individual. So I think everybody should check into that. It can't be that much harder than getting a business license, and the next thing you know, I'll have a yacht and a private jet too. How about that? So I'm a Useful Idiot Corporation Incorporated. Don't you be a Useful Idiot Corporation Incorporated too.